Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Are you calling me from a museum? Because you are truly a work of art. Okay, cheesy pickup lines aside, have you ever stopped to think about that incredible device in your hand? The one you're probably watching this on right now? Today, we're taking an epic journey through time, dialing back to the very beginning of telecommunications and fast-forwarding to the futuristic tech we use every day. So, buckle up, because this story has more twists and connections than an old-school telephone cord. Our story starts in 1876. A man named Alexander Graham Bell makes a legendary call, saying, "Mr. Watson, come here. I want to see you." It was the first ever phone call, a moment that would shrink the world. Imagine a time before you could just text your friends. If you wanted to talk to someone far away, you'd write a letter and wait days or even weeks. The telephone was pure magic. Early phones were clunky, wooden boxes. You had to crank a handle to get the attention of a human operator at a switchboard. You'd tell her, and it was almost always a her, who you wanted to call, and she would physically plug your line into the correct circuit. It was a manual, painstaking process. If that switchboard was a person, I'd ask, "Are you a telephone operator?" Because you've connected my heart. By the early 20th century, things started to change. The rotary dial phone appeared, letting people dial numbers themselves. No more operator needed, unless you were making a long-distance call. That satisfying whirring sound as the dial spun back. It's a sound an entire generation grew up with. These phones, often called candlestick phones, looked elegant but were still tethered to the wall. You couldn't wander around the house while chatting. The idea of a portable phone was still science fiction. This new technology was called touch tone, and it was a huge leap in convenience. It made dialing faster and opened the door for new services, like a little thing you might have heard of called the internet, which would later use these same phone lines. The cords were still there, but they were getting longer and coiled, giving us a little more freedom to pace around the kitchen while on a call. Still, communication was mostly about voice. Video calls, texting, that was stuff you'd see in the Jetsons. Now let's talk about the big one, going wireless. The first mobile phones weren't exactly mobile by today's standards. In 1983, Motorola introduced the Dyna-TAC 8000X. It was nicknamed the Brick for a very good reason. It weighed 2 pounds, cost nearly $4,000, and offered just 30 minutes of talk time after a 10-hour charge. But it was revolutionary. For the first time, you could make a call without being physically connected to a wire. You could be walking down the street, in your car, anywhere. It was the ultimate status symbol. If you saw someone with a brick phone back then, you knew they were a big deal. I guess you could say to it, "Is your name Wi-Fi? Because I'm feeling a connection." These early cell phones operated on what we now call the 1G network, first generation. It was analog and could only handle voice calls. And the quality? Let's just say drop calls were the norm. The 90s brought us the 2G network. This was a game changer because it was digital. Digital meant clearer calls, better security, and a brand new feature, SMS, or short message service. Yes, texting was born. The first text message ever sent was in 1992, and it simply said, "Merry Christmas." Phones started to shrink dramatically. Remember the iconic Nokia phones? They were famous for their durability and, of course, the game Snake. Suddenly, phones were not just for talking. They were for quick messages, for playing simple games, for personalizing with ringtones. They were becoming a part of our identity. They were small enough to fit in your pocket, and battery life was measured in days, not minutes. This was the era where the mobile phone went from a luxury for the rich to a tool for the masses. Then, the new millennium dawned, and with it came 3G. If 2G was about adding text, 3G was all about adding the internet. For the first time, you could browse the web, send emails, and even make video calls from your phone at reasonable speeds. This is when the term smartphone really started to take hold. Phones got cameras, music players, and basic apps. The BlackBerry became the must-have device for business professionals with its physical keyboard and push email service. It was so addictive, people called it the crackberry. The world was now at your fingertips, as long as you had a decent signal. The mobile phone was no longer just a communication device. It was becoming a mobile computer. But the real revolution, the one that shaped the world we live in today, began in 2007. Steve Jobs walked on stage and introduced the first iPhone. It wasn't the first smartphone, but it completely redefined what a smartphone could be. It ditched the physical keyboard for a multi-touch screen and introduced the App Store, creating an entire ecosystem for software developers. And that brings us to today, the era of 5G and beyond. 5G isn't just a faster 4G. It's a technology designed to connect everything. We're talking about near instantaneous downloads, lag-free streaming in ultra-high definition, and the power to enable technologies like self-driving cars, smart cities, and advanced augmented reality. Our phones are now supercomputers that fit in our pockets. They have multiple high-powered cameras, processors faster than laptops from a few years ago, and screens that are breathtakingly beautiful. From Alexander Graham Bell's simple request to Mr. Watson, we've come to a world where we can instantly video chat with someone on the other side of the planet in crystal clear quality. Looking at my phone today, all I can say is, are you a 5G tower? Because I'm getting a really strong signal from you, and I can't look away. So what's next? We're looking at foldable screens becoming mainstream, satellite connectivity for when you're off the grid, and artificial intelligence being integrated even more deeply into our devices. The journey of telecommunications is a story of human ingenuity, our relentless desire to connect, and our drive to make the world a smaller place. From a clunky box on the wall to the sleek supercomputer in your hand, it's been one incredible ride. Thanks so much for watching and taking this trip through time with me. What was your first mobile phone? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the technology that shapes our world. See you in the next one.